If you love boho decor, but you also have a little bit of a dark side that you want to express in your decor, then dark boho could be the perfect fit for you and your small apartment. Dark boho takes the eclectic, free-spirited, earthy look of bohemian decor and then dips it in darkness. And what you end up with when you mix these two styles is a really interesting dance between the colorful, patterned exuberance of boho and the moody edge of dark decor. So how do you create the dark boho look in your apartment? In this video, we're gonna explore this interior style combo as if I were decorating a dark boho bedroom so that you can walk away with some ideas on how you can transform your bedroom into a sanctuary that's both a little goth and a little groovy. And if you're new here, my name is Steffi and this is Hilo, and on this channel I talk about small apartment styling tips, cozy living, and the joys of living alone. So if you're into that, consider subscribing and giving this video a like. Are you ready for some dark boho magic, kitty? She will literally just let me hold her like this for God knows how long. You are a precious child, a child of prophecy. So before I dive into these specific decor recommendations, let me briefly describe this dark boho bedroom look that I have in my head, because there really are so many ways you could do this style. Boho itself is so versatile. You can mix it with all kinds of styles because it's inherently a free-spirited, diverse, untamed aesthetic. And then the dark decor aspect of this, at least the way I'm seeing it, is a dark color palette, of course, with little moments of goth, mystical, witchy elements, and just an overall moodiness. Like an angsty rock star from the 70s in bedroom form. That's what I'm picturing here. I think it was my Whimsy Goth decor video when I said, if Stevie Nicks were a decor style, it'd be Whimsy Goth. Well, dark boho too. All in all, the dark boho I'm talking about in this video is like Abigail Ahern meets 70s rock and roll meets a subtle goth edge, with, of course, the looming energy and aura of Stevie Nicks. So now that you're kind of here with me on the vision, let's get into some specific dark boho bedroom decor ideas for creating this goth and groovy retreat we're going for. And let's start with the fun part, decorative accents. It's these little touches that bring any style to life, and selecting them is my favorite part of the styling process because this is where you can really let your creativity run wild, and run wild it should when you're creating any kind of boho. If you don't feel the energy of a feral madwoman running naked through the forest while you're decorating in this style, then you're doing it wrong. And adding decorative accents to your space is when you should be feeling that wild energy the most. I certainly was when I was gathering these pieces. And lighting in particular, as I've said so many times, is the most important aspect to creating a stylish space, especially when you're doing a look that's so reliant on mood. A dark boho space should evoke a sense of glowy ambiance and groovy vibes. And if you use the abrasive big light overhead in your apartment instead of carefully selected lamps, there will be no ambiance and there will be no vibes. Like this orange one would cast such a pretty amber glow, and its curvature brings a cool 70s vibe, like if the blobs in a lava lamp hardened into their own lamp form. That's where my mind goes, at least. And this beaded chandelier, I mean, there's nothing more boho than a beaded lamp, but they're usually with light tan colored beads. This one would be perfect for dark boho. Same thing with this lamp. It has this dark, dramatic base, as well as an earthy woven shade. So it really embodies both sides of this style really nicely. All three of these lamps would look so cool in a dark boho bedroom. And then there's wall art, which the sky's the limit for this one. You really have so much creative leeway when decorating in the bohemian style. So you could choose just about any kind of artwork for a boho room and it would probably work. So in this case, I selected pieces that hit upon the fundamentals of dark boho: texture, earthiness, mood, and rock and roll. This macrame wall hanging covers the texture aspect, and macrame in and of itself is a quintessential boho visual, but this one has a dark drama to it that makes it a bit unique compared to other macrame designs, and it's perfect for dark boho. And then I couldn't help myself. I had to include a Dark Side of the Moon poster. Not only does it cover the rock and roll aspect I see for this style, but it also thematically is just too good to resist. We're creating a dark groovy look here, and Dark Side of the Moon is a dark groovy album. It's too perfect. And then, because I'm me, and if you keep up with my videos, you know that I'm a total slut for florals, I had to include these. Honestly, I'm considering them for my own bedroom. Yeah, they're simple. They don't say much other than we're pretty flowers, but frankly, that's all I need to be happy with my wall art. But aside from my own personal bias with these, I do think they'd be perfect for this style because of their colors, dark vibe, and 70s flower power look. You just can't go wrong with these, really. And then in terms of like little decorative objects you could incorporate for this style, you could get something like these vases. They kind of have that ancient artifact look, but are actually freshly excavated off the shelves at your local world market. I think they'd add some nice dimension to a dark boho bedroom, and you can place them on your nightstand or dresser on their own, or you could fill them with plants and florals. They'd be one of many of the little touches that you would incorporate to bring this look to life in your bedroom. And then finally, for decorative accents, a rug that hits upon both the dark, moody vibes as well as the patterned, textured boho vibes would be ideal. Something like this rug from CB2 would be great. Again, here I am with the florals. But really, I like this one in particular because I think anytime you can bring a sense of soft femininity to a darker, moodier style, it can be a great way to just cozy up the space and avoid the dark dungeon look, unless you're into that. Then there are the cozy, soft things that are the heart and soul of the bedroom: bedding and pillows. So see how these pieces balance the dark color palette and mood of the dark decor style with the texture, pattern, and earthiness of boho? Like, no matter what type of boho you're doing, it should be very touchable. Lots of tactile experiences going on. Woven fabrics, tassels, fringe, embroidery. Basically, boho is anything but smooth. It's all about texture. So something like this comforter with its tufted embroidery in this particular pattern is perfect. And the dark green suits the color palette we're going for as well. Bedding like this that marries the textured, patterned boho vibe with the dark moodiness would suit a dark boho bedroom very nicely. And then on the other hand, just because we're going for a dark look with this style doesn't mean that you have to completely avoid color. In fact, moments of color can have all the more impact when set against a dark backdrop. So this burnt orange velvet quilt would be so striking against a mostly dark overall picture. And it also has the touchable, tactile element we want from boho, just in a different way than the last comforter. Instead of a raised embroidery, you have the sumptuous velvet touch with this one. This look really is all about touch, especially when it comes to a bedroom where comfort and softness and textures really shine. Same thing with these pillows. They have tassels and macrame and weaving, very touchable. And at the same time, they also exude that creative, kind of hippy-dippy energy through their patterns and overall style, but through a moody lens. And remember, when it comes to dark boho, or really any kind of boho, one thing I really want to drill into your head is that you can really let loose with patterns. If you watched my last video, which kind of skewered an Elle Decor article about 5 decor trends that we're supposed to ditch in 2025 arbitrarily for no good reason, then you know this article stated that pattern on pattern on pattern is out for 2025, but that's just simply not true, and it's especially not true for any shade of boho. So mix those patterns as much as you want for this look. And when it comes to pattern, I particularly like this floral comforter because of course I do, but it's especially because the colors and the mood of it are perfect for this style. But really, you can't go wrong with any pattern when it comes to boho. That's really one of the things that makes bohemian styling so fun. It's so freeing. So when it comes to choosing your bedding for this style, you really can tap into your inner pattern goblin and just really go for it. It's perfect for someone as uptight as I am. It's a nice little conduit for all of my anxiety. And another thing I would consider leaning into for this style is anything celestial. Moons, stars, planets. So this pillow and this quilt would be lovely. I think there's an interesting dichotomy to be explored here between the earthiness of boho and then also a sense of dark mystique. Earth and outer space, the grounded and the celestial. So when you incorporate moon imagery into a dark boho bedroom that also has the earthy boho elements, you're tapping into that visual story, which I think is so beautiful and just cool. It's cool looking. So all in all, when you're going for a dark boho look in your bedroom, keep these 3 things top of mind: texture, pattern, and really the cool factor. Anything that gives off that free-spirited energy. Flowers, plants, moons, stars, earth and space, yin and yang.
Hi. Hey, kitty.
And then to complement those soft, cozy things on your bed and also serve as a focal point that ties all your bedroom styling together, there's the headboard. I can't say this enough. I think headboards are so helpful in creating a strong sense of style in a small bedroom. Ow. It's such a large visual statement that also doesn't take up any additional square footage, so it can do so much in terms of style in a small space. And especially when it comes to a look like dark boho, where pattern and dark drama are so fundamental, a headboard is a great way to convey the look in just one fell swoop without taking up any precious floor space. So you have this one that makes me think of a Goth peacock, right? It has a similar vibe to those classic rattan peacock chairs from the 70s, but the black brings it to a darker, moodier place. This headboard alone would do so much of the visual heavy lifting in conveying dark boho in a bedroom. It's frankly quite perfect for this. Then for a big visual impact that requires zero heavy lifting, literally, on your part, you have this stencil wall panel piece. It may lack the substance of the other headboards here, but it would be great for certain situations. For example, if you're someone who moves from apartment to apartment, like maybe every year when your lease is up, something like this would be simply easier to transport around. One less piece of heavy furniture to deal with in the move. It reminds me of the wall panels I had hanging in my studio apartment above my desk. They made a big statement without being a heavy-duty commitment. Then you have this one, which looks like if the blue fairy made the last headboard into a real boy. A great option if you're ready for a real headboard that serves major pattern. Think about how much this would do for a small bedroom. So many exquisite details, carvings, and visual stimuli. It would be a showstopper of a focal point. Not to mention how perfectly boho it is. Then, on a different note, you could go for a bit more of a modern boho look with this headboard. It's a bit more simple and clean, but it would still make a statement. It would be like having a rainbow over your head as you sleep at night, only the rainbow is just dark green. My kind of rainbow. But it also conveys so much coziness. It's so soft and cushy looking. It almost looks like you could sleep on it instead of your mattress. So if you want to make sure your dark boho bedroom feels soft and cozy above all else, this headboard would be a great option. This one too, it also has that soft, cushy look, but incorporates the pattern we love so much for boho. It'd also be very well suited for dark cottagecore with its frilly edges and slightly grandma chic vibe. So something to consider if you want to bring in some dark cottagecore to your bedroom as well. And it actually matches the comforter I recommended earlier. So if you wanted to pair the two together and just kind of get a bit aggressive with this particular pattern, you could end up with a pretty striking, dramatic statement for your bedroom. And then there's this headboard, which actually comes as a full bed frame. It doesn't have as many flourishes as the others, and it would only work for certain bedroom situations, but it could be a really cool looking option for some dark boho bedrooms. On one hand, you have your headboard, bed frame, and even your nightstands taken care of all in one. For some, this would make things easier and more streamlined. For others, it might be a bit cumbersome. Like some of us don't have room for two nightstands on either side of the bed, for example, and this wouldn't give us the flexibility we need. But in terms of style, this could look really good in a dark boho bedroom. You have the texture of the rattan, the black drama, the curvature of it. In the right bedroom, it could be awesome. So to sum it up, a headboard really is a great way to convey this style boldly without taking up any additional space. And a couple honorable mentions, just in case you don't want a headboard for whatever reason. You could paint an arch behind your bed to create this kind of focal point, and that's a very boho visual. And then you could also hang like a large tapestry above your bed, or something like the macrame wall hanging I showed you earlier. There are lots of things you can do. Just always keep in mind that your bed is the focal point of the bedroom. Make your bed styling count. Now, to give you an idea of how all of this can potentially come together, I've created a couple versions of a dark boho bedroom design. There's this version and there's this version. But one leans more into the strictly dark color palette, and then the other one is an example of what it can look like when you have bold pops of color. So this one is a bit more monochrome, and like I said, sticks to the dark color palette, definitely a bit more moody. And as you can see, I also found a dresser and a nightstand that could look good with this look, and they bring a good like punch of pattern to this room. Multiple pattern punches are always a good thing with this look. And you can see I have the painted arch that I mentioned. You could do this with a headboard like I have it here, or you could just do it by itself without a headboard. And then you can also go a few different ways in terms of color. So like for this room and the colors that are present here, I would either want to do the green that's on these floral prints. So like I literally color dropped this green over onto the arch. And then you could also go with something a bit more subdued, like the gray from these flower prints. You could also play upon the orange of the lamp and have a bit more of a bright contrasty moment that also still ties into something that exists within the space. What I like to do is I just like to look at what's present in the space and then just repeat a color that's already there. It's just an easy way to create a sense of cohesiveness. So that's the more dark, moody, kind of monochrome take. And then here's the more color poppy take. Just a little bit more of an orangey yellow version of this design. It's a little bit more playful, simply just because orange and yellow are kind of happy, playful colors, but you still have the mood. And the Pink Floyd poster is really just the rock and roll cherry on top of this design. So really, I made two versions just because I wanted to show you that this doesn't have to strictly be like dark and dour. It can actually be as playful as you want it to be. And there really is kind of a spectrum that you can play with. And the weight that you put on the dark side as well as the boho side can range. There really aren't any rules. You can do whatever you want. This was just kind of my specific interpretation, you know, like if Stevie Nicks were a bedroom is basically the thesis statement here. And I really hope you didn't turn this video into a drinking game where you take a shot every time I say dark boho, because I would be very concerned for your health right now. In my dark cottagecore video, there were actually people complaining about how many times I said the term dark cottagecore in a video about dark cottagecore. So yes, I said dark boho a lot in this video because it's a video about dark boho. Anyway, let me know in the comments below, how would you interpret this style? Because like I said, there's so many different ways you could take this. So I'm curious, how would you do it? Let me know. And if you want some more inspiration and ideas in a similar vein to this, then I recommend you watch my Whimsy Goth decor video next. It has a lot in common with dark bohos. So if you want some more dark decor inspiration, watch this next.